why didn't you guys just bargain for that more when you were at the table?
Well, I think it's a fair question, but it's only one if you believe that we didn't address or didn't try to address commissioner discipline during the collective bargaining negotiations. As a group of players, as 2,000 players who voted, who were represented and voted for this deal, the question then becomes, one, what are you willing to give up in order to get a neutral arbitrator?
But is it a regret?
No. My feeling about things like regrets, there's two factors that might influence whether you have a regret over something. One is if you engaged in the wrong process, and one is if you achieved the wrong results or didn't achieve the results that you wanted. On either of those two, there's nothing to regret.
The referees are still trying to come to an agreement, and you've been on record as saying that you clearly don't want your players playing with replacement referees. If, in fact, by August 5th, the first preseason game, the referees have not come to an agreement and there are replacement refs, are the players considering walking out at all or not playing?
Even if we were, I wouldn't tell you. I know.
Come on.
You wanted an honest answer. You know, but you know what? The whether there's a walkout, not a walkout, again, not the real issue. There are 150 or so referees who we consider to be the frontline people on the field when it comes to health and safety. We consider them to be really the first responders on the field about maintaining health and safety for the players. I mean, look, at the end of the day, referees are obviously there, you know, for non-safety issues like time and illegal procedure penalties and things like that. But look, we look at the rules about penalties and the rules about water timeouts or things like that as health and safety issues. We take a very real look at what a lockout is. A lockout is a tactic by the employer to put the employee at a disadvantage so they take a bad deal.
Well, I know there's language in the CBA not allowing a strike by the players, but if there are abnormally unsafe working conditions, is that something that could be actionable on behalf of the union?
An unsafe working environment is always something that is actionable on behalf of their union.
Bottom line, will the players take the field if they're a replacement ref?
Workplace safety is always something that we can consider, and it is always something that we can choose to take action about.
During this off-season, a number of players have been arrested. I believe there's been 31 arrests of the players. What do you foresee in terms of discipline coming down in the future from the commissioner, and do you have any gauge or opinion on that?
No, I don't really spend a lot of time guessing about what anybody's going to do. Again, the real issue for us is the health and safety of our players on and off the field. Drunk driving arrests are up this year. What I do know is that when our players drink and drive, they put themselves and they put the public at risk. So instead of spending a millisecond thinking about discipline, our staff actually spends a lot of time thinking about what we can do to make sure that those don't occur. We are always looking for better ways to make sure that our guys understand the consequences of their choices and making sure that they don't put themselves at risk.
Wes Welker and Drew Brees are two players who have recently had to navigate the franchise tag issue. When you talk to the players and you hear from your membership, is this an issue that needs any sort of fixing, or that they want fixed or changed or just to go away, period?
I mean, look, there's all sorts of things that came up during the course of the collective bargaining agreement. I mean, one, you had really a proposal by the league that they wanted to expand the franchise tag. While we were in negotiations, they wanted to designate additional players that they could put into a holding pattern and contract with in a way that we felt restricted the players' access to as close to a free market as it is. We beat back a number of those proposals. Well, frankly, we beat back all of those proposals from the league to expand the number of players that they would want to either franchise tag or somehow freeze. Look, would I rather be in a world where there was no franchise tag? Yes. I'd rather be in a world probably where there was no salary cap. I would love to be in a world where I was a lot taller. The reality
Independent
of
arbitrator too?
Sure, but
Just
look,
throwing that one out there.
Look, if the critique is that the players didn't run the table during the course of negotiations, knock yourself out. If the critique is that the players didn't get everything that they wanted, knock yourself out.
How often do you communicate?
There probably isn't a week where we don't talk.
In one of the lawsuits that you filed, there was a quote that said, essentially, he is incurably and evidently biased when it comes to wielding the power in which he's wielding. Would you characterize it in any remote form as incurable?
I've never said that our relationship is incurable or that the nature of our relationship is incurable.
In spite of all this litigation?
Hey, look, you know, if you're a lawyer, you know, as I have been now for it seems too long, do you end up having very strong, aggressive litigation, trial disagreements with people? Yes, you do. There's not a good lawyer in America who would say that that's the definition of a relationship. Roger, I'm sure, would never apologize for how aggressively they pursued us in the NLRB. My guess is the league would never apologize for structuring the TV contracts to give them $4 billion of lockout insurance. It was a tactic. When we represent our players because we believe that they've been wronged, that's our right. And there's not a lawyer on their side, I think, who would expect me to apologize for being aggressive and resolved about how strongly we're going to represent them.